fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5. Over 10 years ago, as the Dark Knight changed things forever, we lost the actor who made it happen. Heath Ledger delivered the ultimate performance that left us eternally wanting more. While we all thought we saw the last of his betrayal of the Clown Prince of Crime, two men unearthed amazing footage of what he might have done next.
The job falls to us to comb over the files and documented exploits of Patient 4479 in this ultimate tribute to the role of a lifetime. Let's start today's session with Artistic Merit on the Joker blogs. Case study. All right, Dragon. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This was maybe my least favorite so far.
Really? That's surprising. I thought you would get a kick out of this one.
It's alright. It's alright. Like, I don't know. It's fine. I just think it's kind of par for the course so far from what we've gotten. It's just it's like a little stepping stone episode. So, how I kept saying that, oh my god, this episode like kind of leapfrogs over the other ones. I didn't get that here, Dragon. It's a solid episode. I got to admit, with the Joker and Harley stuff, I'm kind of just I don't want to say I'm impatient with it. I appreciate the development they're going for, but it's like, we all know that this guy is a goner, Dragon. We all know it. It's got to be. And so it's just kind of like, I feel like just kind of like building it up is just like, you need this episode, sure, in the context of you need that development, you need that kind of sithering sort of Norman Bates style dislike of this man. But I don't know. I like, it was a solid one. I just didn't feel like there was anything particularly compelling.
Okay.
Didn't really blow the roof off like some of the other episodes before it had.
Well, this is very much just we're teeing up things before. There's not a whole lot of context to give you on this one. What I can tell you is that this tees up the next leg of our journey big time. The next episode's a big one. Next episode is debatably the best of the series, so that's going to be huge. And that's going to be, again, it's going to be kind of incendiary in many respects. So this is teeing all that up with the big plot point that we have here, in that Harleen Quinzel is going to be leaving Arkham Asylum after her wedding, which basically is the big crux of this. That's kind of our major plot point. We established beyond that, Arkham is having money troubles. Again, Harleen's going to leave after she gets married, and honestly, it's I like that stylistically. Again, the idea of the performance of Scott McClure the Joker is that, again, it's predominantly Heath Ledger, but it's also, especially as it goes on, there's like little samplings of the other Jokers, much like how Heath Ledger constructed his Joker. There's going to be we're going to lean into a little bit more in this episode. Leans into the '89 kind of art museum aspect. It's very much like the art motif.
Sure.
Like kind of the Nolanized take on like, would this Joker parade through an art museum and deface the paintings? Well, not the Prince.
Not in the same way, but I still think he'd kind of like, he'd find a way to do it in his own style.
Exactly, you do it in his own style, and perhaps not set the Prince music. Not that I think he has anything against Prince music, but I don't think this
maybe some Creedence Clearwater Revival, because he's clearly a Vietnam veteran.
Sure.
Right. Anyways,
but so the Nolanized version of the art, of kind of a take on art, would be philosophizing the art, which he does, I think, really well in the dialogue here. So
it is a very good dialogue episode, Dragon. I'll give that much.
It is to connect the two episodes, like I kind of teased up last time. So again, the whole kind of the thematic thing, looking back on these episodes, like, okay, so we had an apple a day, and of course the other end of that saying is an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So again, hey, the apple signifying Joker's control and his power, and the kind of the power move of it all, and like, hey, the cost of that power move, well, Harleen's going away. So the doctor's going away. Get it?
I don't know. I still feel like I would have liked to have seen this episode literally just be called "Keeps the Doctor Away."
I know. Me too. But maybe it's almost like a Better Call Saul Jello thing, where we couldn't get Jello, so we had to go with Alpine Shepherd Boy. Who knows?
What are you saying, that the trademark "an apple a day keeps the doctor away" is trademarked?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm saying like, who knows? I'm not specifically something that maybe there's like we had to change the episode name for a reason, or we didn't want to go with the on the nose saying. So basically,
All right,
the name it should be is not the name. We need something art related to artistic merit. Who knows?
All right.
Okay. So yeah, all that said, let's dive into artistic merit. All right.
So of course, properly, we have a paint splatter opening of the title.
Yeah, it was nice, and again with the exact red coloring, so yeah, it look good. Very simple.
It's no apple, peaches, pumpkin pie, though.
Again, we're not going to top that, Tiki. So I'm just going to diffuse any. Like, we're going to get some good.
Well, you know what? Every damn episode, I'm going to be like, yeah, it's good, but it's no apple, peaches, pumpkin pie.
Apple, peaches, pumpkin pie. And he bites the apple. We're never going to top that, Tiki. It's impossible to top that.
All right. Well, I'm just going to keep bringing it up. So
anyway. So, okay, so time has passed again, as we've established between sessions. Time has passed at this point. The Joker's able to paint in the therapy room. I don't think it's a cell because we have like a door. We hear a door at the other end. I could be wrong. Yeah, we never see the other side of it, so I'm guesstimating. So I believe we're in the therapy room. They usually kind of hunker down, and only now we can paint in there. And again, a little art therapy, which is a kind of a neat call. Again, we're changing things up. It's not just the usual therapy session. We're doing art therapy.
And I think you're very right, Dragon, about the whole, like, it kind of, like, Nolanizes the Jack Nicholson art obsession.
Yeah.
And so we've got a very dark-looking interpretation of the Mona Lisa that may or may not be Jeremiah Arkham's wife.
Yep. And also that little giraffe, it's actually an inside joke. They kind of have like a mascot for back when they had a DeviantArt page. It was that was their mascot, Jerry the giraffe. So.
Oh dear God.
Yeah. Anyway, so what do you think about the Joker's art style? By the way, it has a very kind of a red sort of thing going on.
I like it a lot, actually. I think it's unique from what I was expecting it to be.
Me too. I like.
I like kind of how it's like kind of like gothic watercolor.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about it with the painting reveal at the end.
Of course. So so Joker's in artist mode. He's covered. He's covered in paint, and he's got this. He's got like this smock on. It's not doing the job. It's just this shirt smock with like the letter J on it, which is kind of cool.
So there you go. There's the costume change for the episode.
Yep, I know, it's great. Every episode we get a costume change, and yet I think it's going to continue for a little bit. Also, the little fun fact on the making of this. So the easel was like the hardest thing to do in the episode. Apparently, is getting the easel set up for the painting.
Oh, I could see that.
It was such a pain. I don't even know if they did it right at the end of the day, but like they said, like it was like the hardest thing to do is getting that darn easel straight.
Right.
Okay, so I like the detail too, almost like Hannibal Lecter in his cell in Silence of the Lambs. He's hanging these works of art like behind him, either the dryers to decorate kind of the areas, like hanging them behind him.
Sure.
Okay, so Harleen enters, and she kind of notes like, so someone's creativity's flowing today.
Yeah, and Dragon, then we just kind of get through a bunch of exposition about the state of Arkham Asylum and the budget, and this is kind of the point where with the episode, it's not bad, but it's just kind of like this episode is a little bit of an exposition dump going into what I assume is going to be a very big episode.
Yeah, I'll agree with you in that the first half particularly is rather expo heavy. Sure,
it's just like, okay, like, hey, by the way, here's what, like, and honestly, Dragon, I honestly think the main reason why I'm a little bit reluctant about this episode is I feel like in terms of the chemistry between Harley and Joker at this point, Harleen and Joker, obviously. It feels a little off from where we were. Like it almost feels like I don't know how I'm supposed to be like it feels like Harleen is obviously way more guarded about it. But I guess maybe the idea is that, now that she's getting closer to her husband, she's getting, kind of like kind of slowly trying to distance herself from the Joker. Like I get that in terms of the story, but I just feel like, I'm sorry, Dragon, I feel bad, but in terms of performance, yes, it just kind of reads as like she's just kind of slipping backwards into how she was like, how she used to be treating him, where I don't know, I'm not buying the layers to this Harley enough, Dragon. And I know I keep giving this actress kind of a hard time. I feel bad. I hope that once we get into some really mind-blowing stuff with her, I hope that it's gonna really cement itself. I have definitely liked a few episodes she's been in, but I don't know. This time around, I just kind of felt like she was sort of recycling her mode from the first few episodes.
Well, look, that's fair, and honestly, the way I read it is that she is trying to professionally distance herself, but if you look at just how far that she's coming and what she's doing here, and that, well, she's modeling for him here, and she's, and again, she is sharing personal details, so it's sort of that Clarice Starling thing of, she is, even though she's trying to remain guarded and trying to backpedal, just her actions, I think, speak to, she is very much like, oh yeah, she's falling into the lion's den here. She is still kind of barreling towards that hole. Sure. So I mean, you're not wrong. Let me ask you this.
Maybe it's a little too subtle episode to episode.
Let me ask you this, just in regards to the performance, but also just in terms of the exposition, just in terms of kind of a lot of that stuff. Do you think An Apple a Day, in its structuring of things, handled that better?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
That's when we do the
exposition is coming from here.
Because we have similar exposition, basically, again, the time has passed. The idea is Arkham is losing more money since last time. But the point remains, though, that Arkham's practices and like how they're financially handling things is in question, and we demonstrated that through the Scarecrow last episode.
Granted, Dragon, I will say this is a better version of essentially the same scene from the actual Joker movie, so I'll give it that much.
Okay.
They don't care about people like you, and they don't care about people like me neither.
Right.
All right.
Okay. Anyways, let's get back on point. You're saying we have like the whole. I just finished painstakingly copying the Mona Lisa. It looks more like Mrs. Arkham to me. Coincidence. Now, Tiki, again, we had the picture. Now we have the painting. He's definitely got Mrs. Arkham on the brain.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
It's getting kind of creepily. It's kind of coming back more creepily each time. Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
Dragon, I feel like low key the thing with Mrs. Strange is almost more disturbing.
Oh, it's gonna. Yeah, there's gonna be some stuff there too.
Oh boy! All right.
Anyway, so we note that he's running out of supplies. He needs more paint, and that's where we learn Arkham's got money troubles. And basically, I love the reason for the money troubles. And this is actually a big point that's going to come back. Okay, I want to make a note of this. Plant a flag here. Okay, so one of the reasons for the budget and the cutbacks, that's of Jeremiah Arkham being kind of stubborn for outside, control of the asylum and stuff like that. Is basically, the food's getting worse too, all that sort of stuff. Is that it takes a lot of money to care for the specific needs of each patient, which is kind of Arkham's style, but also Joker having these videos posted suspiciously on YouTube of the sessions is scaring away Arkham's funding. So I love that cause and effect.
I love how Joker's excuse for how it's not him is barely even an excuse.
Exactly. I told you it's not me. I got a friend who's putting those up on YouTube.
It's okay, well, yeah, but it's still, again, Dragon, to quote The Dark Knight, it's your men, it's your plan.
Yep. So and here's the way you want to plant the flag, Tiki. The whole, can you get him to stop? Well, if you say so. So there's going to be a payoff that's also going to, again, given our found footage angle, Tiki, there's going to be a payoff, and our framing device is going to get switched up.
Ooh, okay.
And just remember that Harleen is the one who said this to him. So again, that's what I'm saying. This one, you're right, Tiki. It is more subtle, but we are teeing things up. They're going to pay off. At least, hopefully for you, will pay off more with Harleen down the line. So the fact that she is kind of causing, she's pushing these dominoes, whether she knows it or not, right now.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. And also, the big thing here is that the whole painting, that was Harleen's idea. See, she suggested painting, which again is kind of a nice visual bond for them as well.
Uh-huh.
All right, so Joker says, I really like the dialogue of this episode, all of his painting monologues, personally. I really like the Joker's kind of views on the art world. I'm not much of an art lover. I just like getting my hands dirty. Everyone has a favorite artist. So bubbly. Everyone has a favorite artist.
And then the whole, Van Gogh thing. Dragon, honestly, I'm not too far off from the Joker as far as, Van Gogh is one of my favorite artists. I do like his style a lot, but I'm not going to lie. A lot of it does come down to the ear thing.
Remind me, didn't Van Gogh do Starry Night?
Yes, Van Gogh did Starry Night.
Yes. I'm always paranoid because I love Starry Night. I'm always paranoid. Wait, it has to be Van Gogh, right?
Yeah, that's a Van Gogh. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, that's one of my favorite panels.
But Dragon, it's I will admit that part of the appeal of Van Gogh is the ear thing, man. It's part of the legend,
And I love that he calls that out, though.
Right,
And
right.
that's what I'm saying. I love just within the writing, there's a lot of credence lent to the Joker's point of view, where he is right that the way we examine the art world, especially in modern years, is the fact that it's more about the emotional response and what's elicited in you. And again, he's kind of like with the anarchist mindset of like, yeah, if you push it to another angle, you can be like the Andy Kaufman of performance art in the form of crime, almost. You know, It's like, you know, he's pushing the envelope and that sort of thing in a twisted way. So it's like, you know, who's the guy who cut his own ear off and gave it to a prostitute? And I love how off kilter this is for Harleen, where, you know, she's trying to be professional and she's like kind of taken aback and embarrassed by it. Van Gogh. I like him. Was a sensational painter. I just like they cut his ear off. Like, that is art. So again, we have like, again, the funny and uncomfortable kind of couple talk kind of set up through all that here. And anyways, then we have so we learn that the Joker is a big masterpiece of the day after, you know, the little warm up with you know, Arkham, you know, kind of like Mona Arkham, if you will, and Mona Arkham. Mona Arkham. So he's been working on this portrait of Dr. Quinzel all day. He's asking her to model for him because he can't seem to get the face right, which is a really great meta gag of like, yeah, we haven't seen her face up to this point, ergo we can't get the face right.
And of course, Dragon, I'm really looking forward to this reveal. This was, like, in spite of me kind of being okay with the episode, I thought the reveal was handled really well. So
yeah, and it's still not all there, and I love it. Okay, so we have this. I love the framing of this episode. I love that we have more of her in frame, which means she's in more danger. We're getting the back of her head and everything. Like, she's like, we haven't framed any of the episodes like this yet. So
he's talking about the emotional response of, you know, like, people fly out to the Mona Lisa just to take a picture of it on the wall. But what would happen if someone basically just took the Mona Lisa and just ran around with it?
Like, cut the face out and basically made it into like a face mask.
Right.
Cut it off, like
ran
cut off
around
the wall,
with it on the
holes.
streets.
Yeah, everyone would be pointing, taking pictures, hundreds crying. Like that's a better emotional response than just putting on a wall somewhere.
And that to me is about the closest we get so far to they'd be losing their minds.
Exactly. Yes. And again, just the idea of, you know, Joker, you know, kind of the anarchist performance art kind of flair that he would have. I absolutely buy that's something the Ledger Joker would do. You know, it's okay. So before that, I just want to make a note of just you know, we have this is a really clever, subtle thing where Harleen says she's not really comfortable with this, which is it's a direct pull from Hypnotized. It's exactly what the Joker said.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this. So it's showing again. It's on the down low, but it's there. Okay, so yes, then we get into the whole Mona Lisa thing, and after that, and also we have like the cheeky line too of like, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this. Oh, it's just a portrait. It's not a nude study. Not yet.
Not yet.
God. Anyways,
that is a classic sign of abuse, of like throwing out like suggestive shit like that as a joke, and it's like, oh, he wouldn't really do that because he's joking about it, right?
Yeah, that's there. But I do like it. We speak about the abusive relationships coming up, though. That's really like it.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, Dragon. I think this show is an excellent case study in abusive relationships.
Okay, so we get a big reference this episode about the hair. So it's just like, I'm out of brown. I'm gonna do your hair yellow. You should try going blonde. It's super.
Oh God.
So you know, actually for the folks out there, man, because you know, you imagine when this show premiered, everyone was let's say the episode 4.5, when we got the Valentine's Day episode. You know, we saw her hair, which was brown, and you had the outcry of like, why is her hair not blonde? Well, yeah, one, there's a progression, but also it's a deep cut animated series reference with Harleen, where Harley Quinn mentioned, we had that great line, well, nerds to you, Mr. Smarty Bats. I'm not even a real blonde.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh man. Oh, that's an iconic Harley line too.
Yep, there you go. And this is them representing.
Oh, that's a great pull.
This is why we watched through season 3 of the animated series.
Right.
Okay. All right, so this is again teeing up the progression of Harleen, and maybe one day she will go blonde. Who knows? You know, who knows? All right, so
someday out there, I will dye my hair blonde.
God.
All right.
So then we hit the abuse stuff here, which is like basically him saying everyone hides, you know, everyone wears a mask, everyone hides who they really are, and
oh yes.
And she says, not everyone hides. Basically, saying that Guy does not hide is pretty much her point
And
here.
Dragon again, I love how the mere mention of Guy sends this Joker into a Highmore-esque Norman Bates rage.
Well, we're getting there. He hasn't mentioned it yet. But we're about to. And it's going to be great.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Right. I'm sorry. I just want to hit the abuse line. It's going to transition to something. This whole he has a great line where it says, "Oh, they do. You'll find out soon enough." Basically talking about you'll find out soon enough. The most abusive relationships. That's where most abusive relationships start. You don't realize it until you're stuck with them, which is a huge foreshadow not only to what he's saying is going to happen with God, more importantly is very much what you can always interpret to be what's going to happen to Harley and then Harley and Joker. Is that that's going to be the horrifying realization of like, oh God, I'm stuck with them.
Oh yeah.
And I'd say with me, what you see is what you get. I paint my inner self out on the outside. And we have like the paint is painting on his own face. And Tiki, this is something I'm sure you appreciate. It's kind of the psychology of the war paint that we've always had with the
of course. It's definitely one of the most interesting elements of this version of the Joker, and so I did appreciate that kind of psychological deep dive for sure.
So Bates Motel fans, this is where the bomb drops here, where she says, well, I guess I'm going to find out soon enough. She drops the bombshell of, she took the Joker's advice. If you want something, you take it. Again, this is the apple a day.
Man. That's another thing, is that she takes the Joker's advice and it goes horribly wrong for him, Dragon.
Mm-hmm. I know, and I love it.
I feel like this is the most out of control the Joker has been so far this series. And
that's the cool thing. Episodes 6 and 7 are really they're a really good pair because of that. It makes you want that episode title yet again to be the Doctor, to keep the Doctor away, because they do kind of like, we set up things to pay off, right here really well with that.
Yeah.
All right, so then we basically, she set a wedding date, which means, oh yeah, it's absolutely happening. If Joker wanted to maybe dissuade this wedding, it's not likely to happen. At least it would seem that way. So Joker's asking like, am I invited? I love wedding cake, and plant the flag right there, Tiki. He loves wedding cake.
He loves wedding cake. Plant the flag. He loves wedding cake. That's important. That's an important detail.
Good man.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
So in the performance, I like this. This is where she gets real cages, where she's trying to kind of close it up here. She's downplaying things to keep things professional because, oh yeah, this is
I noticed that too. It's kind of like, well, it's a small event. It's kind of just like, well, if it would be a big public gathering, then maybe I could pull some strings. But no, we're keeping it small.
Yeah, who's got? Maybe I could be Guy's best man. It says Guy's brother is Guy's best man.
Oh boy.
And then we have, and I love that. Here's something really great, just the structuring of it all, and just the framing device. Just with the frame, the blocking of the scene. I love that he's looking at her like kind of eyeballing her, like staring her down almost, because he has to get the eyes for the painting. So it just gives him an excuse to kind of really get up in her face during this. It makes it even creepier. Somebody's like, "Where are you going on your honeymoon?"
Oh God.
So, okay, we've officially gone past.
Like I said, Dragon, the only thing with this episode is I feel like at this point, I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect of like from how drawn in Harley was last episode. I don't think she'd be sharing stuff like this with him, because I think she'd know how he reacted. That's a little bit of a disconnect to me.
I mean, that's fair, but it's also kind of like, this is kind of her breaking up with the Joker, in a sense.
Sure.
She thinks she's breaking up, and so she doesn't really, assumedly, again, we think of the way things are going to go. I mean, I don't know how this would have turned out, but assumedly, like, the plan was she was not going to come back after this, or at least maybe one more session, and that would have been it. Just wrapping things up with how fast the wedding's approaching.
Uh-huh.
All right, so I think it's why she's kind of taking the chance here. But again, also maybe subconsciously she wants him to, maybe dissuade her, perhaps.
Ooh, that's an interesting take on it.
But again, that's kind of more later talk.
Okay.
So, all right, let's see. So, of course, okay, she's trying to be all professional. Okay, well, we've officially gone past the subject now. This is very, very inappropriate. You're just lucky that you still have me as your doctor for now. And, of course, the for now is what really sets Joker into a bit of a tailspin here. Like, the Arkham's budget, and they've been laying people off, and they'll rehire. They better not try to separate us again. And here's where we get really kind of the abusive relationship. Oh, God, he's not going to let her go if he has anything to say about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's really intense too when he's looking at the painting. I love he's directing all of this acting towards the painting. I just love it because again, he's like it's literally a painting of her. He's like directing up, talking to you through the painting of you. So she's not sure how long because Guy, it was a big plot when that Guy thinks Gotham's too violent, and probably thanks to the Joker's actions, The Dark Knight. Let's be honest. He's been offered an internship at Star Labs, which also is a big thing too. We in the Nolanverse, we've introduced Metropolis.
Yeah, that is big. That is
pre Man of Steel, way before Man of Steel was a thing.
Sure. Metropolis, potentially the Flash.
Well, that's Superman, Tiki.
What?
That's Superman.
Yeah, but Star Labs.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. I mean, Star Labs starred in Superman. That's why they're jumping to Superman. You're right, though. You're right. Star Labs kind of becomes its own sorts of place. You're right, though. It could connect. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not expecting the Flash to show up. Don't get me wrong, but
right. Yeah, you're right.
All right.
Okay, so let's see. So now they finish the thing, and I love this. So the minute things get really real for him, he's losing control. He distracts from it, like, and you're finished. You want to see my true self? Well, this is how I see you. Now, remember how I keep telling you there's a new character in each episode?
Yeah.
Now, she is not seen, but Pearl enters the episode.
Ooh.
So Pearl's going to come back, Tiki, and it's going to be very memorable how she comes back. So Pearl is a very Bates Motel moment, by the way.
And Pearl.
Yep. This is a very Bates Motel moment, very much in kind of that whole, like, anyone who kind of gets in the way, Joe's going to make a mental note.
Yeah, it's like she's trying to make this grand gesture, and it's like she couldn't care less. Like, she has got other things on her mind, and it is not him, and he is not happy about it.
And Pearl interrupts like the worst moment. Mr. Kopsky's in your office.
Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, it just... It leaves Joker in a state of defeat that we have not seen so far in this series, which is interesting because usually Joker kind of has the upper hand most of the time. So I will admit, on that angle, I'm curious to see where things go from here. Like I said, just kind of rolling into final thoughts with this one, unless you have anything else we need to set up for the ending.
Well, yeah, real quick. Just okay. So I set up again. So he's gonna remember that Pearl did this. Let's see. So she has last minute wedding plans. Basically, barely looks at the painting. Keep up with the painting, though.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about the painting itself, right?
Yes. So again, supposedly crestfallen, Joker as Harleen Quinzel leaves here. And by the way, so there is once we get to a point which is coming soon. There is well, not soon, but once we get down the line. There is a question of, is Joker playing this up for the cameras? There's a bit of an ambiguous quality. Like, is he really this crestfallen, or is he really playing it up so whoever's going to see this is going to know, oh, man, the Joker's trying to inform an opinion here. So I like that. There is some ambiguity, but even taking it at face value, I think it still plays absolutely as well as intended. Either way you slice it. Where he does feel this way, just whether he's just expressing it in a more cinematic way or not is the question. So, yeah, so we reveal... So we reveal the painting, which was painted by a guy, James Mancavelli, who did this. It looks really nice. Yeah, I like how we kind of shadowed her face. Like, we don't see the eyes.
Yeah, what I like about it is that it feels like it could be Harley Quinn, like traditional Harley Quinn, but we're not there yet. It's a very natural kind of like stepping stone to Harley Quinn. It's much more in kind of like the goth style.
Yeah, and there's it speaks to the metamorphosis that still needs to take place, and what's really great is the final moment of the episode is, again, his response to Harleen didn't see this, and again, kind of speaks to what Joker's mind's at, and what he's playing, the big end game, of course, being in the Mad Love story, making her Harley Quinn. So he basically, now, there is, unfortunately now I can't show it to you, but there is a Jokerized version of this, which is what he does at the end here, where he Jokerizes it, and he kind of adds maybe some Harley Quinn-esque details, but... So yeah, it's really cool. It's kind of the scary thing if you don't know what he's doing and what he's planning, but it's like his warped view is taking over like this amorphous painting and trying to morph her into something that he wants her to become. So it's a cool creepy note to end on where, oh boy, he snaps that. The fact also Joker is like he's been given a lot of leash here where he's. For the dog chasing cars, he snaps that brush in two. He could stab people with that really easily. If his who knows? It's the Joker. Anything you see what he's done with a pencil.
Okay, so yeah, Dragon. Final thoughts. Like I said, it's definitely not the strongest episode we've gotten so far. It's a good stepping stone episode, though. It definitely introduces some concepts that I'm sure will pay off. I'm sure that at the end of the day, I'm probably going to look back on this episode and be like, "Oh man, that set a lot of juicy stuff up. That's good. Well played, sir. Well played." But at the moment, Dragon, I can say it's probably one of the less impressive of the bunch that we've gotten so far. But still, still aboard for the ride as always.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts for me, I really love the dialogue in this one, particularly with, the writing on the Joker, as I usually do. But I think this, and particularly next episode, again, is kind of the pinnacle. But this is like getting there. I think the dialogue is getting sharper and sharper. And I think this was good stuff for him. I like just kind of stylistically this one, we zhuzhed up the therapy session format compared to episode 1, just seeing how far we've come. We've done like, the kind of night vision thing with Hypnotized, and, we did the cafeteria. So again, we keep changing up the sets and kind of our locations and making kind of memorable and different. I love Joker. On the whole, I love Joker drawing a correlation between violence as an art form, the art form and violence, which it kind of really plays for this interpretation of the Joker. The big takeaway is that Joker kind of has he's going on about realizations and responses in people. And within Arkham, and again, the more immediately, the Dr. Quinzel of it all, and that there's he's trying to elicit reactions in people, and that's kind of what he's already done that in Arkham Asylum. They're catering to his whims, and he's trying to do that in Harleen Quinzel, but it's not exactly going the way he thought it would this episode. So the big question is, what will he do next? Now that Harleen's leaving, what will he do next? And I'm terrified to find out. I don't know about you.
All right, well, our time's up, and it's time to reseal for further evidence. Until next session, when we attempt to answer the question, is there a method to the madness, with the Joker Blog's case study.
I just like that he cut his ear off.